Punk rock, born in the mid-1970s, was a middle finger to the overproduced corporate rock of the era. Rooted in 1960s garage rock and proto-punk, it thrived on simplicity, speed, and attitude. Bands like the Stooges, MC5, and the Velvet Underground laid the groundwork, but it was the 1976 releases of the Ramones' Blitzkrieg Bop and the Sex Pistols' Anarchy in the UK that ignited the genre. Punk wasn't just music, it was a subculture of DIY ethics, provocative fashion, and raw expression. Let's explore the key players who shaped it and why they're contenders for punk's crown. Iggy Pop, the godfather of punk. Iggy Pop, born James Osterberg, is often dubbed the godfather of punk for his work with the Stooges. His 1969 debut album, The Stooges, and 1973's Raw Power introduced a raw, visceral sound. Distorted guitars, relentless drums, and Iggy's unhinged vocals. Songs like I Wanna Be Your Dog and Search and Destroy were proto-punk anthems, blending nihilism with primal energy. Iggy's stage antics, cutting himself, smearing peanut butter, diving into crowds, set a template for punk's shock value. His influence on the Sex Pistols and Nirvana is undeniable. Lou Reed called Raw Power a masterpiece. At 5'7", shirtless and writhing, Iggy embodied punk's reckless spirit. But is he the king, or just the spark that lit the fuse? Joey Ramone, the face of American punk. Joey Ramone, Jeffrey Hyman, the towering gangly frontman of the Ramones, gave punk its heartbeat. At 6'6", with ripped jeans and sunglasses, he was an instant icon. The Ramones' 1976 debut album, Ramones, with tracks like Blitzkrieg Bop and Judy is a Punk, defined punk's blueprint. Short, fast songs with simple chords and cheeky lyrics. Joey's nasal, urgent vocals and 1, 2, 3, 4 count-offs became punk's signature. The band's DIY approach, recording on a shoestring, touring in a van, inspired countless garage bands. Despite no chart-topping hits, their influence on Green Day and The Clash is massive. Joey's death in 2001 from lymphoma cemented his legend, with a New York street named in his honor. Is he the king for making punk accessible? Johnny Rotten, the voice of rebellion. John Lydon, aka Johnny Rotten, fronted the Sex Pistols with a sneer that could curdle milk. Their 1977 album, Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, with tracks like God Save the Queen and Anarchy in the UK, was a cultural earthquake. Rotten's biting lyrics attacked British monarchy and societal norms, sparking outrage in bands. His provocative stage presence, spitting, cursing, and taunting audiences made punk a public enemy. The Pistols' chaotic 1976 TV appearance with Bill Grundy fueled the UK punk explosion. Though the band imploded by 1978, Rotten's later work with Public Image Limited pushed post-punk boundaries. His unapologetic attitude defines punk's ethos. But does that crown him king? Joe Strummer, the soul of punk. Joe Strummer, The Clash's frontman, brought heart and politics to punk. Their 1977 debut, The Clash, mixed raw energy with social commentary on tracks like White Riot. By 1980's London Calling, Strummer expanded punk's palette, blending reggae, rockabilly, and ska. His lyrics tackled unemployment, career opportunities, and global issues, London Calling, giving punk depth. Strummer's charisma and everyman appeal made the Clash punk's most enduring band, with 5 near-perfect albums. His death in 2002 halted reunion talks, but his influence on U2 and Green Day endures. Strummer's blend of rebellion and idealism makes him a strong contender for punk's throne. Patti Smith, the godmother of punk. Patti Smith, dubbed the godmother of punk, fused poetry with raw rock. Her 1975 album, Horses, blended proto-punk with literary flair, with tracks like Gloria redefining punk's boundaries. At CBGB, her intense performances, spitting poetry over jagged guitars, inspired the Ramones and Blondie. Smith's androgynous style and fierce independence challenged gender norms, paving the way for Riot Grrrl. Her confidence and artistry made punk a platform for intellectuals, influencing RM and Sonic Youth. While not a traditional punk, her impact on the genre's ethos and diversity earns her a royal claim. Jello Biafra, the hardcore provocateur. Jello Biafra, frontman of the Dead Kennedys, shaped hardcore punk with biting satire. Their 1980 album Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables featured Holiday in Cambodia and California Uber Al skewering politics with dark humor. Biafra's nasal snarl and provocative lyrics made the band a hardcore cornerstone. Facing obscenity charges from the PMRC in the 1980s, he fought for free speech, later becoming a Green Party activist and spoken word artist. His influence on Bad Religion and Knox is clear. Biafra's political edge and DIY spirit make him a punk monarch contender. Debbie Harry, punk's glam icon. Debbie Harry of Blondie brought punk to the mainstream with a new wave twist. At CBGB, her model-like looks and fearless attitude stood out. Blondie's 1976 debut Blondie and 1978's Parallel Lines, Heart of Glass, blended punk's edge with pop and disco, broadening its appeal. Harry's charisma and boundary-pushing style influenced Madonna and Riot Grrrl acts like Bikini Kill. While some purists question Blondie's punk cred, Harry's role in making the genre accessible and diverse strengthens her case for punk royalty. Henry Rollins, the hardcore evolution. Henry Rollins transformed punk with Black Flag, joining in 1981 after Keith Morris's departure. Their debut LP, Damaged, with tracks like Rise Above, defined hardcore's raw intensity. Rollins' aggressive vocals and physical presence, screaming shirtless at house parties, set a new standard. His later Rollins Band and spoken word career brought punk's ethos to wider audiences. Rollins' discipline and intellect, inspiring bands like Fugazi, make him a key figure, though his late entry to punk tempers his claim to the crown. Glenn Danzig, the horror punk pioneer. Glenn Danzig's Misfits, formed in 1977, birthed horror punk with songs like Night of the Living Dead. Their 1982 album Walk Among Us blended punk speed with B-movie themes, influencing Metallica and AFI. Danzig's baritone and theatrical style made the Misfits a cult favorite. His solo work in the 1980s, Mother, further spread punk's influence. While not a mainstream figure, Danzig's niche impact makes him a dark horse for punk's throne. Kathleen Hanna, the Riot Grrrl revolutionary. Kathleen Hanna's Bikini Kill spearheaded the 1990s Riot Grrrl movement, merging punk with feminism. Albums like Yeah 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 Yeah, 1993, tackled sexism with raw energy. Hanna's confrontational performances in zine culture empowered women in punk, influencing Sleater-Kinney and Paramore. Her activism and unapologetic voice made punk inclusive, cementing her as a queenly figure in the genre's evolution. The DIY ethos, punk's true crown. Punk's essence, DIY rebellion, authenticity, resist crowning a single king. The genre's strength lies in its collective spirit. The Ramones made punk simple and universal. The Sex Pistols gave it shock value. The Clash added depth. Patti Smith brought art. Biafra and Rollins pushed hardcore. Even David Peel, who cheekily claimed King of Punk in his 1978 album, embodied the genre's irreverence with lo-fi anthems like Marijuana. The 1990s resurgence, Green Day and beyond. The 1990s saw punk's mainstream revival, led by Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong. Their 1994 album Dookie sold 20 million copies, with hits like Basket Case blending pop punk's catchiness with punk's edge. Influenced by the Ramones, Green Day's success with American Idiot, 2004, proved punk's staying power. Bands like The Offspring and Rancid also thrived, but their reliance on earlier pioneers' blueprints makes Armstrong a prince, not a king. Why no single king? Punk's ethos rejects hierarchy. Iggy Pop's primal energy, Joey Ramone's accessibility, Johnny Rotten's rebellion, Joe Strummer's soul, Patti Smith's poetry, and others' contributions each define a facet of punk. The genre's impact, spawning hardcore, post-punk, and grunge, comes from their collective rebellion against conformity. Naming one king would betray punk's anti-establishment core. Instead, these stars form a chaotic, vibrant court, each ruling a piece of punk's legacy. The question of punk's king is a trap. Punk thrives on anarchy, not crowns. From Iggy's raw chaos to Hanna's feminist fire, these stars built a genre that's still kicking. Who's your pick for punk's top rebel? Share your thoughts below and catch more music history on our channel. Like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us.